Hello folks, welcome back to another edition of BC Renovation Magazine. So I've just completed another item on my to-do list. So I've got my hot water tank installed. If you want to see what I did to do that work, stick around. Alright, so just finished up installing my hot water tank here. And this is kind of the last little thing I had to do in my utility area here. So now the hot water tank installed with the, our new furnace here. We've got this whole area basically cleaned up and done. So this is, what I call the kind of the heart of the home. We've got our heating and cooling system here. We've got our hot water tank. We have our main water line that comes in here. We have the electrical panel up here. So, this is kind of the heart of the home. Everything comes to this point. So I'm just going to show you what I did here. Installing a hot water tank is it's a do-it-yourself job if you have an electric one. If you have a gas one where you have gas line and vent and all that, I'm not sure if I would recommend that as a do-it-yourselfer job. You'd probably want to bring in a professional for that. But I'm just going to go through this and kind of show you, what to look for if you're installing your own hot water tank, or if you're having someone do it for you. Just kind of a little guide here of what's involved. And I'm also just going to show you how the other things finished up here in my little area here. So what I'm about to show you is compliant for code where we are. Now it may be different where you are, but this is how we do it here to meet inspection. And so I'll just start kind of at the bottom here. All right, so our main water line comes in, and we have a video where I showed you that. That's the main water line that comes into the home right there. We've got a main shut off. We also have, you can see, we've got the heat tape there. The little LED light there is plugged into a ground fault interrupter, so a GFI outlet. That's important that it's done that way. And then we have the main water line comes up, and I've just installed this whole house pre-filter system here. So this is the pre-filter thing right here, and what that is a sediment filter that takes sediment out of the water coming into the home before it reaches any of the appliances or any of the devices in the home, any of the plumbing devices. So that I've done a separate video on that. That's a pretty neat little thing. That's worth checking out. The next we have this device here is a pressure reducing valve. So the water that comes into this home is about 110 psi, and 110 psi is too much pressure for your fridges, and like your fridge and all those solenoid valves, your toilets. If you run those appliances at that pressure, you're gonna blow stuff apart. So you need to reduce it, and that's what this thing does. This reduces it down to around 45-50 pounds. It's adjustable, so you can set it for different pressure settings, but that's what this device is. And then we come up here. This is our cold main in, and we come in, and then we do a tee off over to our hot water tank. So this is the valve here for the hot water tank. And then from here, I'll come around the other side here. So here is the T, another T, and it goes from the valve into the hot water tank here. And then on top of this, you can see we have this little device. Now this is a vacuum breaker, and this goes on the cold side. This is the cold side. So the idea is this, that if something happens in the main water line, that it starts drawing water out, this thing will open up and draw air through and out instead of trying to draw water out of the hot water tank. Without this device, if you get into a situation where you have water that's sucking back, it can actually suck the water out of your hot water tank and it can collapse it. This device prevents that. Okay, again, this is code for us here. And then we have so from this T back here, then the water line goes into the rest of the house. So this goes to all the cold in the house. So the water then for the hot water tank comes through here, goes into the hot water tank. It's heated electrically, and then this goes up and out. This is hot. It goes to all of the hot in the house, all the hot taps. All right, and so this tank replaced a gas hot water tank that was in here. The whole thing, everything about that tank was non-compliant. The gas line, the vent, none of it was compliant. So we wanted to get rid of it. The home originally had a electric hot water tank. And so we have returned it back to its original specification, which for us is a CSA specification. So we've brought that back to that original specification. And this is the power into it. All right, and so you can see that goes up into the panel here, and then we have the 2-pole breaker up here. And for us here, we have to have a shielded cable. That's code. So that's why it's inside of this metal. All right, then on the hot water tank itself, we have a pressure relief valve. And now that pressure relief valve is there so that if for some reason the tank overheats, builds up too much pressure, this will release the pressure so the tank doesn't blow up. I think you probably all heard of those stories of water tanks blowing up and going through the roof of the home. This is so it doesn't do that. This thing will trip and release the pressure. So attached to that valve is this pipe that goes down, okay, into this tray. So I like to put these trays in. You'll never see a tray like this in a mobile home from the factory. But this tray is a plastic tray. The tank sits in it. You can use a plastic tray with an electric tank. If you have a gas tank, you have to have a metal tray. Again, that's our code here. But if this thing was to start to discharge water, it will go into this pan, and then it goes out of this drain over here. So now what I've done is I've plumbed this drain. Just use some 3/4 inch PVC. It goes to an elbow there, and I'll take you down in the crawl space and show you where that comes out. But it goes down through this little metal chaseway that I put in here previously and exits down underneath the home. So if your hot water tank develops a leak, and that's what happens when hot water tanks fail. They get a hole rusted in them, and then they start to leak water. And then you have water on your floors, and your floors are damaged. It can end up to be a huge mess. It can cause a lot of damage. This way, if that water tank leaks, and it's not usually if, it's when, it's just a matter of time, or if this thing was to start to discharge, that water will collect in the tray, go out and exit underneath the mobile home here, and no damage. All right. So that's kind of it in a nutshell here. I'm going to take you down in the crawl space now, and oh, and also here, I forgot to mention this. So here we have, you can see we have an electrical connection here, and what that is, that's a ground wire. So that's a bonding wire, and it's connected to the. There's a clamp on here which connects it to the this fitting. This is a same fitting like this over here, and so. Which the fitting is then touches the water in the pipe, which bonds the system, grounds it through the water back to earth. So that's what that wire is there for. So that wire comes underneath and up into the panel here, attaches to the grounding inside of the panel here. This other wire here that you see running down here is another bonding wire, and that goes down through and it attaches to the metal frame of the mobile home. Okay, and so here we are back underneath the home again in the crawl space, and so this line here with the foam on it is the main water line coming in from the park's water source, and so that comes in here. Now this inside of that we have 3/4 inch PEX piping, and then we also have the heat tape, and so this is the heat tape that comes from up above. So that place I showed you up above here is the valve, and here's this little metal chaseway that I installed there, and the water main goes up through that. what this little orange thing here is the it's a sensor for the PEX. You can see the PEX underneath there. So if this gets to a certain temperature, then the this will turn on the heat tape so that it heats the main line coming in, so it doesn't freeze. And then this white tube here, this is white PVC. This is the tube that comes down from the drain pan up there. So if water gets in that drain pan, this is where it comes out. And so you can see that, you know, it'll just come down on the ground here on this plastic, and you know, no harm. It won't damage anything down here. And so hopefully that would give you an opportunity to see that there's water in that pan, and you know, and then correct it before you know, get any more damage. All right, folks, so that's it. That's the hot water tank installed. And next up, I'm going to work on those that wood trim that I was telling you about. So stay tuned, folks. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Bye bye.